I find quite interesting. It means NIP takes first pick, and as we dive in, a lot of the bot lane arms race being removed, as no Karma, no Varus, and no Cassante for Breathe. Curious what we're setting up for in the top lane. Maybe an early Rumble being looked at, but my eyes right now go towards the Jarvan. It's had the highest presence so far, been banned in 9 games early on in the LPL. And we'll see if they want to let the Jarvan through or try and split the picks here.
Easy first lock-in should they wish to go for it. I like the removal of Rumble by IG. Little odd to see Varus taken away by NIP, but it is just a blanket strong pick generally, so I don't mind it entirely.
Yeah, Ashe Seraphine's up. You can split the combo as IG, but the best answer for me is Ezreal Karma, which has been denied. As now we do get that Jarvan first pick that's been really high priority, especially over in the LPL. I don't love Jarvan first pick just because it gives you 5 picks to try and play out of the Flag and Dragon, out of Cataclysm. And I think what makes Jarvan so powerful is that ability to just, Flag and Drag or Cataclysm for a flash. And you can revisit that timer, it's really solid later. But with Ashe Seraphine up, that is the strongest bot lane. And if you do take Jarvan and you want to pick Ashe Seraphine into it, it at least gives Jarvan a way to play the game as we get out of Ashe last second and lock in that Zen Zhao.
Yeah, I think the Ashe Seraphine, being kind of disincentivized by the Jarvan pick, it's not a full denial, of course, but because they are both immobile, it does feel a little bit awkward. I would love to see IG not deny at least half of it, though, because if IG aren't going to pick up Ashe Seraphine now, NIP basically have a slam dunk on the next round of draft, and this Ashe pick, as a result, just makes total sense.
I mean, usually, old school games, you'd see a Thresh or a Tahm Kench maybe being played into the Jarvan to help your immobile AD carry, but that's just not what the meta is right now with Enchantresses. And it does give IG, I think that if NIP were to go for a Mel lane, if it were to be Ashe Seraphine showing immediately, that could be tough. Maybe that's why they go with a Zen Zhao instead. I mean, NIP would have had the opportunity to deny the Seraphine, but instead, they want to try and pick into it. As a lot of pressure now on IG. I mean, if they don't go Seraphine now, you gotta imagine that Seraphine gets banned out. And Braum isn't really an option anymore, as Braum really struggles into the Enchantresses. So I think it's just slam the Seraphine, accept the fact that you get to deny bot lanes, and NIP has a really strong top side. With his Ryze, Jarvan, Gnar, it's going to make to look plays and whatever IG wants to pick into it.
Yeah, and you are threatening an adaptation or something new for NIP, because by picking this Ryze Gnar, you do go, well, I mean, we're giving you the Seraphine. Surely we have an answer for it. Playing that sort of mind game. We'll see whether that's actually true, but I love the strong, self-sufficient topside that NIP have drafted, because it lets Guwon come down to assist a bot lane that otherwise should lose on paper.
Yeah, I mean, Gnar plus Ryze, a lot of emphasis on trying to play side lanes later on. So maybe looking out for a bot lane that can help 1-3-1. I think Bard makes a lot of sense. Cataclysm kind of empowers Bard too, because the Q gives you a wall to bounce that off of or hit that on, so that's nice. Something that Gnar is going to benefit from as well in this draft is Jace being removed. That Jace has seen a lot of popularity. I think the Jace could really be attacked in this, but has a good lane matchup against Gnar. Speaking of being attacked, Nautilus out of the pool, so not that Enchantress, but IG really don't want something with the early power to take flashes away from the Ashe Seraphine that might be able to help Jarvan get in there, enter.
Yeah, safety going to be in a premium, and IG, especially with the swap that they made in the bot lane, moving in Jiachi instead of Photic and Mako instead of Jwei, do want a self-sufficient bot lane, do want to be able to commit more attention to the top side of the map. And so removing things that put pressure on them in the draft phase is going to be super important, especially if they lock in this Ambessa, who would really benefit from some ganks early on to hyper accelerate her against what is presumably an Gnar.
Yeah, it's not the best lane matchup, but the fact that Ambessa makes it all the way through draft, has Ashe Seraphine to play off of with the public execution. Okay. And also, I thought Breathe played that Ambessa really well when he was playing last split. I like this look. Or not last split, but the last time we saw Breathe, I thought he was a good Ambessa player over there on Weibo. So Yunara Lulu, I mean, that has a chance to bring a lot of power into the team fights, but your ability to attack as Ash Seraphine is a bot lane that definitely is on the back foot. It's good to have priority elsewhere, because I expect that bot lane to be kind of big trouble for NIP, at least in the laning phase. Going to be on the rise and the Gnar to try and get ahead in their lanes and try and move, which this Galio for Renard are going to really dissuade Rise from moving, because this Galio, you pick it early, it has pressure into Rise, you have the ability to actually attack Rise through his route and kind of neutralize some of the early lane power that Rise gets in a lot of different matchups. So kind of denying some of the mid power and push with the Galio later. We see it paired with Ash Seraphine quite frequently. They're going to try and hold the line for the rest of his team, and we'll see if IG honestly just has enough power or damage to get through the Yunara Lulu later on. Because I think that IG as a comp, slightly worried about damage overall. I think that NIP is bringing a lot more damage to the table.
Yeah, and that'll be, as we get later into the game, more and more relevant, especially around things like third dragon fights. I think my concern is that NIP don't really have a lot of say in how the early game plays out, especially towards bot lane, because they chose to draft the Yunara Lulu. IG, on the other hand, they have a Xin Zhao with 2 lanes that enable him pretty well. Ambessa towards top lane could be disastrous for a Gnar, and then a Galio to lock Rise up in the mid lane should be the less frequent play, but certainly an option for Wei on the Xin Zhao. If you let Xin and Wei have the run of the entire top side, NIP don't really have a clean answer towards bot lane without dragging Guwon down there, pulling Jarvan's attention away from counter-ganking top, and I think that they could lose control of this game really, really quickly.
Honestly, I think it's kind of a good shout, Dia. I think it puts more pressure on just see if Guwon can break that, or if he can get involved early. Like the Rise and Power W can help. Galio has ways to play defense, and then getting into Ash Seraphine, trying to set that lane behind. Big, because if it's left in isolation, they will win in isolation. So, see what NIP can do.
A lot of attention for IG, or a lot of animation for them this early on into this split.
IG had a lot of fans
and with the star power that they've got. Did mention their bot lane definitely wants to stay safe, and so we'll keep our eyes on whether any summoners do have to be burned, whether they can be forced by Assum and Zhuo, especially this early on, as heal already used to try and get better, and trade barrier as well. Assum and Zhuo don't want to let Jiachi and Meiko take control of the bot lane wave state.
I gotta say, with the shields early on, gonna win out very early. Assum with the Yunara Q should be able to continue to keep Prio on the wave. Well played by Assum as he steps up, gets out of the queue from Seraphine. And this Ash Seraphine lane, again, one that I think can win this matchup. I gonna need a few levels to scale into it. Let Seraphine get some more points in those abilities.
Guwon will be likely moving up to re-clear over by his red, and then move towards Krugs to shadow the Gnar early on. Although full clear from Wei really quickly as well has left Guwon the slightly more active participant. He does need to be responsive more than anything.
Yeah, and I gotta say, with both junglers working their way towards top, I was kind of interested to see Guwon go with this clear. I feel like he's setting up to take this top crab, go right back to his Raptors, and try and use that to bolster himself to get, I'd say, like, get further ahead in the second clear. But Hoya on the back foot of this matchup early on is honestly not exactly what I was expecting. As Breathe with the Electrocute has been able to do quite a good amount of work, which is a bit of a surprising keystone to see grabbed early, but one that's serving him well currently.
Yeah, he's just going for short trades constantly has worked out to the point that Hoya can't even step this wave under tower. He could get flashed on it and deleted, and this early on into the game, even that sort of trade is good for Breathe, as it'll essentially reset him and just deny experience from Hoya, who's going to have to burn his teleport to get back into the lane and avoid getting too far behind.
Yeah, we don't see the keystones on the overlay yet, but I saw the Electrocute proc, and honestly kind of makes sense, because I was curious as to why Breathe was up early in that matchup, that taking that different keystone, it's like it's really augmented those first few waves where Hoya gets a not-so-hot first base. Does have to burn his TP back, and now Breathe. Gets a few more camps, or a few more creeps at his disposal. As he gets to TP right on back to answer, and our junglers continue to clear Dia, so not very exciting early. Outside of a bot lane lead that is in the hands of NIP, as after they catch this wave, should be a good CS move for Awesome.
Yeah, the action early on really, I think, meant to, for the IG composition, explode around dragons, around objectives early, because their lanes should just be either auto wins or nothing at all. As I say that, Zhuo does get flashed on, so an early defensive summoner forced out as Awesome's going to be able to chase him down for first blood, and Guwon's here as well, as Jwei wanders down just to make sure Mako doesn't die. This is already a big shift in what should have happened for IG's bot lane.
Yeah, I think this matchup early on is, I want to say that first wave, my guess is that NIP just kind of got going. Awesome, of course, has the wave. If he gets to hit the wave first or hit the wave early, he does have a lot of power into the Ashe, as the Q can just kind of brute force push. Ashe needs levels in the W, and Seraphine needs levels in the Lulu as well. So, this is a matchup, though, that I frankly expect to be Ashe Seraphine favored, kind of post 5, as the poke gets to be pretty bad for the Yunara Lulu. But man, those first few levels, props to NIP. Their bot lane going to work there, Dia. And this is a nice lead now that J4 is clearing away from currently, but we'll see if Guwon kind of switches things up, because I love to see them punish the flashless bot lane in the Ashe Seraphine.
And up towards top lane, I mean, Hoya hasn't been forced to really burn anything just yet. The first public execution from Breathe doesn't connect on him either. Could have been a really nice kill early on, but as it is, this top lane that took the electrocute early on to win the lane, who has a jungler who theoretically can get involved, is not doing much early game.
And not much to do yet. As we'll say IG, I mean, this is one where it hurts to get behind as the Ashe Seraphine too, because now you have a couple more levels behind you. Might want to expect a W poke or overall poke could lead to a potential dragon.
Mako has absolutely no flash, does get a root though, and Zhuo chasing him down, should have a slow available for Zhuo. Awesome, ready to burn cooldowns for this flash forward. And Zhuo is going to go down. NIP continue just running down the IG bot lane to the tune of a double kill for Awesome. As Jwei flashes forward but does not connect with the wind becomes lightning and won't get anything for it. Summoner's burned even out of the jungler. A double kill for NIP's bot lane. Cubby.
I mean, Awesome made that point look pretty awesome possum, as there's no playing dead on the other side. It's just straight up death, as Zhuo and Mako twice in a row now caught out in the long side of the lane. Wave crashing, chase down. Sums are down this time around. And I want to see mechanically if this was played right. I'm almost curious if Zhuo was able to get an auto down on the Awesome just to get a little bit more of a slow earlier. As Mako steps back in, yeah, it's a nice double root, but it was just too little too late. And man, lethal tempo proc. Working a little bit overtime. Nice dodge down from Awesome too, as that was perfectly played by the AD carry of NIP. And now 3-0, pretty nice big lead early on here for NIP. And Guwon, I think, has snuck himself in here. So Zhuo and Mako unaware.
He's got Cataclysm as well on an immobile bot lane. Jwei is here to answer the play that he should be expecting. The Cataclysm just gets burned raw right onto Mako as Guwon tries to disengage, but there's no peel for Awesome, who will go down. Jwei responding to the play in time will manage to actually turn that into an advantaged one for his bot lane. Zhuo looking for a little bit more damage underneath the tower, but it'll be just that, plus the presumable plate for IG.
Yeah, the fact that Awesome got caught in that made sure the play does go IG's way, as we thought it was Guwon lying in Jwei, but it was actually Jwei at the end of his second clear, or I should say middle of second and third clear. Able to get involved and turn this first Drake into one for IG from the looks of things. As Guwon, I don't think he has the power to respond on this side of the map. Gonna have to see if he's able to contest Scrubs on the top side.
A little bit of a breath of relief, as even though it is 2 minutes after IG do still grab the first dragon, something their composition is meant to do with Ashe Seraphine. They're meant to be winning the bot side, meant to be turning that into objectives. The slight delay won't really hurt them overall, but it is something that you'd like to see them continue, especially as the team should have power topside to work with as well, and Rift Herald, or rather, Void Grubs have just spawned.
Whoa. Transcendence was popped. That W slow hits to maybe as the root comes in, arrow fired. And they brute force them off the wave, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
that's more gold and XP denied. So I think that NIP will take that, but now it's a flash up for Assum. I'm just kind of interested to see if Jwei can get involved down there. That said, it looks like after that first dragon being taken, didn't mention the Grubs up next. Jwei is here on time, going to have the Crab on time as well. And that lead in the top side, this top lane matchup's gotten more and more interesting to me just because it's not showing air screen, it isn't electrocute or breathe. And this is made the matchup, usually I'd expect Gnar to have this lead. Instead, it's Breathe that has this lead on the Gnar into Hoya. And it might just kind of flip the script for the Grubs, too. As Galio just TP'd back, get involved, he's stronger than Care. And Breathe is a little bit stronger right now, top lane. So this is just going to be at least one of the two Grubs, or two of the three Grubs going over, and looks like all three now. Wow, that's a big win for IG.
The Electrocute making the matchup a little bit more hands-off. I mean, I've kept returning to this idea that Jwei should be moving on paper up top side, on paper accelerating the Zambesa, but we haven't seen that so far, and it makes me wonder if that's even part of their game plan, or maybe it's just, you know, take the Electrocute win in the top lane, know that you're going to have a full Ambessa for threat on Assum and Zhuo later, and let Xin Zhao pick up as many objectives as he wants.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one, because I think playing towards Ambessa lanes can be helpful. Gnar can be a wee bit slippery, but that's kind of what the Enchantress's bot have created, is these lanes, if you start to miss summoner spells, they become so much more volatile, because you're playing against squishies. And I know that kind of sounds weird, but if a jungler gets involved with that, real opportunity to try and find a lot of kills, you almost have to play towards those lanes, because in double range, they kind of hit each other more, be a little bit more volatile. So I think that's one where, you know, maybe that, even if that is in the script for IG, which I could see, between the bot lane getting behind early, it feels like Jwei might have had more pressure to get involved. And to be fair, the first time he did get involved there was turning around a big play that IG really needed. So maybe that's one where it kind of took away some resources from that top side.
IG thinking about a tower dive here. I mean, they're set up with the wave, but Assum and Zhuo are going to be able to stand right outside their tower and make sure that that never becomes a reality. Instead, it's just a bit of bot lane pressure given over by Jwei walking outside of vision. This will finally be spotted on a control ward near the mid lane. NIP, full information on where Jwei is, and on a technical level, NIP don't give over that same opportunity. Hoya trades ult for ult in top lane, but at this point on the Gnar is a little bit more difficult to kill, especially since he's picked up the full plated steel caps.
Yeah, I know top side we're getting a little bit of action as Hoya's getting himself back into the match a little bit. A matchup that is usually Gnar favored, and the red tree doesn't scale quite as well as the green tree if you are the Ambessa. So see if Hoya can continue to get himself back in. I think for me, in IG's shoes, Sums are back up bot, but maybe trying to get involved in that bot side again. As the real power of Ashe Seraphine, and why it is kind of the primo bot lane right now in this meta, is how much power it gives to the rest of your team. Just the utility you get from both those champions, the scaling too, and then you get to factor that into a meta where top lane gets way more experience now, so top lane's just stronger for the entire game, and jungle is all about taking the fighters and abusing the fighter items, which Ashe Seraphine, you know, helps empower a lot. But Yunara Lulu, Yunara is ahead, and if Yunara gets ahead and stays ahead, the amount of damage that this champion can pump out is pretty absurd, and one that I think a lower damage comp of IG should be kind of worried or threatened by as this game continues.
Especially when enabled by a Lulu, who's not going to only provide, like, insane damage for Assum, but also be able to deny some of that with the polymorph that we're seeing right now. Hero's entrance right on top of Jwei is going to make Guwon's life miserable. And NIP, not quite on the same page about whether they were going to try and quick assassinate Jwei or not, do end up losing their jungler just around the next dragon.
I think the goal there for Guwon was going to be to ult in, EQ out, and the EQ didn't connect. So that's just the second dragon going the way of IG.
Not the worst thing in the world, as a bit of copium for our NIP fans, but pretty good for IG.
Yeah, it's, I think this is one where sometimes Rise can cheat his own power trough just because of how strong he is, but he is, of course, double scaling right now with the Roa and the tier. Roa being pretty freshly completed. As Breathe was looking to maybe sneak a walk down, but Jwei was spotted. Maybe a little bit more caution here from Care. And I think revisiting, you know, Ashe Seraphine starting with the first two Drakes, we kind of expected that in the game script, Dia. The way we got there, though, was a lot less linear than I think what IG would hope, and they really have to deal with an Assum that is going to be a lot more fed as this game goes on. Yeah, I keep your eyes out for Guwon. It's going to be drop a Cataclysm, try and EQ out, and the EQ just straight up doesn't connect. I don't even think it was canceled. Oh, it was canceled. Never mind. I mean, kind of. I think he got stunned, too. I also don't think it connected. I just think I didn't see him move at all, even before the R came down.
For like 8 different reasons he dies is what I'm taking away there. Because even if it had connected, he had an encore coming at him. He had everyone positioned around. That Jarvan was dead 10 times. Care, maybe not exactly the same situation. He is forced to flash. Breathe follows him up, though. The Realm Warp not going to take him out to safety. And IG do collect a kill top lane. Well, they miss one in mid lane. Zhachi and Shannon Crystalera already down. And Zhuo tanking the tower for Assum turns into another kill for this unstoppable Yunara.
Was traded out, so 1 for 1 overall with numbers for IG, but IG trying to kind of transition here. It was maybe looking to get Jwei the wave. Overall, I mean, again, Assum. All 4 kills in his pockets on the Yunara. That is exactly what you want. And we just have to see now, what can NIP get out of it? Because meanwhile, the team game has been being lost. Every neutral objective, including the Rift Herald now, has gone the way of IG.
I'll tell you what I want them. I want them to get 3rd dragon out of it. I think that this composition was always going to lose the first 2 dragons. They should have been able to contest for the 3rd on paper. Now that you have a 4-kill Yunara, surely NIP get dragon control.
I mean, I think that it kind of has to be a must for them at this point. If you're giving away Soul Point and Infernal Soul at that. Honestly, a good role for NIP is I think that overall they have a little bit more damage in their comp profile. Given, you know, there's a Galio mid. He's not going to abuse that soul quite as well as the other numbers, so they're going to build some more scaling.
Hoya no rage.
Ooh. Ult and 5 for Breathe. Does he fish?
May as well go for it. He's definitely putting himself in range. We'll see what happens underneath this tower as Breathe is just going to seemingly clear the wave and not go fishing. Save that for a rainy day.
I think for NIP, again, like, this game is slowed down a bit. They don't really have Summerstones that are out. Jwei's flashes, though. This is going to force him out.
They don't really have a Galio in range either, but Breeze walked all the way up here, and Public Execution just barely whiffs onto Zhuo. Did save the fishing for a rainy day, but still didn't catch anything.
No Transcendence is pretty big. Right? A lot of the power comes from Transcendence, and now caught out.
Awesome CC train does force a wild growth out, but Assum is still awesome and manages to go 1 for 1 in that situation. NIP should be able to walk things out. Jwei does want to chase Guwon though, and may very well be able to collect this kill. The flag and drag this time will not be canceled. NIP get away. Teleport forced out of Hoya. Plates collected by the Rift Herald. Generally, great. No, not great. Good situation for IG. Turning into an okay one now that they're losing bot tower.
Yeah, I should pick up top in a return, though, and that is one where going 1 for 1, they get the shutdown on the Zhachi, and I think the thing for me is that Assum pops his ult pretty early. So you're going to see it's Mikhail's, and he pops the Transcendence here, but he ate the Ashe, though. Doesn't feel like he can step forward because he sees Breathe and Hoya's behind. So you burn the ult, and most of the Transcendence goes into the wave / nothing. So in the back half, when he gets something, I think that's a little bit bold. There's no Mikhails. He's rocking the cleanse. He won a barrier from the lane. So now it just kind of becomes a DPS war that Joshi clicks around well enough to dodge out on Guwon's flag and drag and doesn't get taken down. Well, he's able to actually get a shutdown onto Assum. So I think overall, IG pretty happy with that. And that is at least something now with Assum, again, missing those summoner spells. They have to play around Mikhails, but that is the target. As the dragon has spawned, and NIP, as you called out to you, a lot of their resources being invested in the Spot River, which they have control of now.
Pushed out the mid lane as well, just as the dragon spawns, so they could just try and burn this, but Breathe is here. IG very aware of the low HP pool of this dragon. Hoya's rage is practically perfect, though. He's gonna go Mega just now as the dragon hits half HP. Jwei likely gonna have to go for a smite steal. He goes for it, and he gets it! Stealing the dragon away, securing the third one, as now Assum fires from the back line of NIP as the team fight kicks off. Already Jwei is down, but it's a trade for Guwon as Assum goes over the wall, looking for Renard this time. Unable to land those last two autos, but in comes the Realm Warp, and a CC'd Renard is a dead Renard. Assum collects another kill. No dragon for NIP, but a small team fight win.
I mean, the smite win for IG, I think they're perfectly fine with that, honestly, as that team fight, the Xin Zhao and the Galio, yes, they went down, but they wasted so much of Assum's time because a lot of the Transcendence was, again, fired into his Xin Zhao ultimate, as Crescent Guard neutralized a lot of it, and eventually they chased down Reynard. But watch this entrance from Jwei. He gets it, gets low, just gets the smite steal. I think Guwon smite the tad early. A lot of damage coming in, though. Might have been trying to combo, and then look at Assum. Majority of his ult, yes, he gets Jwei. Yes, Renard is burning most of the rest of the time, but can't get onto the priority targets, so it's just a 2-for-1, and Dragon going over to IG. They're going to be very happy with that result, as they now getting threat and soul point for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you now have to be sort of a Clark Kent-like as NIP. You can't afford to let even a single dragon go down, because that solves a lot of the damage issues that we were talking about for IG. It's not going to be perfect, but it's certainly intimidating. Assum feeling intimidated right now is actually forced to jump over the wall, burn the ult as well, so that cooldown missing for the next little while. And IG, with most of the momentum, with all the momentum right now as we hit 20 minutes. Barons spawned. IG have control of the top side jungle for NIP. And they've got a Galley ult as well if they want to fight.
Yeah, Hoya's mini fishing around, and he's going to get yoinked as Jwei gets it successfully. And I think this is another thing that's kind of rough for NIP. They got no grubs. So we kind of mentioned early on in draft that they might be able to 1-3-1. As we see Hoya. Oh, actually going to get Reynard.
Our slam into the wall, cancels the teleport.
Okay.
That's how it goes.
I thought he was going to sneak out, but you can see the Gnar winning the side lane matchup. And again, the Ryze and the Gnar, they can play the side lane as well, having no grubs to help take those towers, maybe slingshot back in gold, or in this case, just get more in their pockets. It kind of slows down NIP's game and what they can do in the side lane. So I think the real lack of neutrals kind of has to be the story for this one, as it might just dictate the result of the game's ult.
Assum going hard in the mid lane, flashes forward on Zhachi, picks up the kill. Well, the side lanes are run by NIP. It looks like the mid lane is as well. Unfortunately, the jungle is not, as Kare goes over the wall and gets a little too close to Jwei for comfort. Hoya's here now, and finally, this Xin Zhao raid boss will fall. But NIP showing they can strike in a few different directions. They get the solo kill top lane, they get the 2v2 kill in the jungle, and they're able to answer the jungler who's going off in their own side of the map.
I mean, the Yunara is still huge, and Assum was able to step up and gun down Zhachi and Mako there. Yeah, I didn't exactly see how this one started, as looks like Guwon was found by Jwei. Honestly, I think Jwei needed to get here a little bit sooner. It probably would have been late, but you got to try and disrupt Assum at any means necessary. As that public execution for Breathe also got him in, might have been a little bit overkill. Maybe if he throws that down on the control ward in the brush, unable to help Jwei or save it for a bigger target later on. But I feel like the game, if Breathe is somehow able to find Assum, that might be the game. Because if Assum falls, I don't really have much confidence in NIP to win the rest of the fight. But if Assum is able to kind of fire away and keep on doing what he's doing, if it wasn't for the neutrals, NIP would be up big in this game.
And if I may be so real with it, Assum's positioning could be an issue as well. He hasn't really been punished because he is so ahead on the Yunara, but there is an Enchanted Crystal Arrow, there is a Xin Zhao, there's an Encore and a Beat Drop, as well as the Public Execution. Breathe is one of the players on IG that can turn this game around by finding the critical Yunara, but he is not the only one. There are a lot of options to lock down, and Assum, who has been positioning really confidently, deserved or not.
Right now for NIP, their control was not exactly around the Dragon side. And for a team that's about to, you know, be hitting their Infernal Soul, not exactly ideal, so we're going to have to fight over the wave and try and get this all fought.
Oh, execution does land onto Assum. In goes the Galliard on top of him. The Encore connects as well. Assum is not allowed to play League of Legends today. The rest of NIP disengaged, but IG, they pull off the perfect play you were talking about.
Oh, man. I mean, just as things looked like they might be getting NIP's way, I was about to talk about how many items Yunara had versus Ashe and what Yunara can do in a fight. Man, that public execution really really made for a rough day in the public square that happened if you're an NIP fan. That really took the wind out of their sails, and I feel like this game now feel like we know it's going IG's way with Infernal Soul secured.
Oh
yeah.
No. Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, healthy bit of copium for everyone. So it's not like you can't win a game into it, but it makes the game that much harder and in a way that NIP really did not want to deal with compositionally or otherwise. They drafted to be able to contest 3rd and 4th Dragon. They lose 3rd and 4th Dragon, although to their benefit, while we're in replay, they do just straight up kill Zhuo, so maybe this Baron becomes realistic.
That'd be big. I think going back to that 3rd Dragon too, that steal from Jwei is so significant. Because we'd still have a game right now if that was the case instead. NIP 5v4, down Soul, but up a member.
Oh yeah, again, Mega just at the right time to keep everyone off of the Baron that will go down in the favor of NIP. Renard gets caught in the aftermath. The 1 kill plus Baron going over to NIP. But the real question, Cubby, is what are they going to do in the next 3 minutes?
Well, Soul's not up yet, but we'll see how much more gold NIP can get. This is still a pretty big gold advantage in a very fed Yunara. So maybe this one's not quite over yet. As, oh, that is devious. That's devious. Wow. That's the boys all got in the car and went to the town, you know? No questions asked.
I will say, you know, bright side, Zhuo didn't burn any summoners because he didn't have the, you know? Like,
he was definitely dead.
If we're looking for a silver lining, at least you know, this one's over. Losing the Baron does still feel really bad for IG, though, because it loses them the side lanes that, like you talked about in the mid game, already weren't going super well for them. Hoya still feels really confident when pushing on his own, which he's currently doing in the mid lane. You've got Care, who's extremely flexible in how he can play. And between that, there's a whole jungle that NIP now run because of the lane pressure that they've got.
Yeah, ultimately this is kind of a stabilizing Baron for NIP. Doesn't look like they're going to get a whole lot out of it. Feel like, again, this gold lead, if they're able to come into this next fight and keep the Yunara safe, things still should be competitive. But that was a very clean execute on a Yunara that was sumless. So, sums will be up for the next fight. And we'll see if Assum can be a little bit closer to, you know, awesome possum, extra awesome, and less close to, like, playing dead possum. We're trying to be more on the awesome scale than the possum scale, you know?
This time he's got his flash up. If possums could flash.
I feel like they don't respond well to flashes, to be fair. You know? Usually that leads to scurrying away.
I'm hoping for Assum's sake that he's removed the P for a reason. Having access to both summoners, less than Mikhail's, surely a good news sign. The public execution can just change all that. We've seen it before, and Breathe is fishing for one right now. Does get spotted by NIP. Credit to them on the scouting. And Care still making this Baron work down in the bot lane.
Yeah.
Let's get semi-collapsed on, but it's good macro moves, good patience out of NIP.
Honestly, that was kind of nice from NIP, because Care's hitting that tower alone. Like, A, Where's the Ambessa, guys? We saw what happened. Oh boy, here we go.
Awesome step far forward for that. Galliol does
Got
come
a
out.
flash.
Bernard's not going to connect on anything. Cataclysm right after that leaves him with no options. 1 for nothing in the favor of NIP, and Assum now unleashed 2-step forward. Public execution on cooldown as well, so he's got really nothing to worry about. A pause. Going to get hit.
They didn't get Assum's flash. I lied. That's actually...
Guwon so frequently has been positioning himself, especially between Enchanted Crystal Arrows and Assum. And I think one of the big focuses on cooldowns that we should have here as well. We've got Public Execution, of course. Mikhails can always do a lot, but Encore is a huge cooldown from Mako as well, and especially enabling Jwei. It's not like IG can't fight. In fact, IG have a great fighting composition, but we need to see a lot more Encores either connecting onto Assum or connecting onto multiple members, because right now, they've been sort of afterthoughts in these team fights.
No, I agree with you, and I think that's part of the posturing that NIP needs to do, as we have 30 seconds, or 90 seconds, should say, before this Elder. The issue is that if you put people in between the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and Assum, which sounds awesome in theory, but it empowers the Encore if Mako's able to chain that with members in front. So some of the, even more synergies you get out of this Ashe Seraphine combo that has been so good. But what can help with all the above, a QSS has entered the equation for Assum. And I think that makes life a lot harder on IG to try and find these chain kills they really need or are looking for.
He's got Mikhails. He's got Lulu. He's got a QSS. And he's got Transcendence for a little doubt. He may as well have Olaf ult.
Well, welcome to Season 16, man. This is an Enchantress arms race to the max.
I feel bad. I feel bad for IG having to deal with all this, because as much as I'd love to sit here and say it's as easy as connecting an Encore into an Enchanted Crystal Arrow, into Jwei being on top of Assum, even if you put all those three things together, NIP can still outplay them with 3 buttons.
They're behind. They're electing to play through bot, which is usually not the better option as Guwon's. Oh, what a catch!
Stun does land off the beat drop as well. Guwon low, and IG would love to finish this. A flash forced out of him, but public execution gone from Breathe means that Assum can do whatever he wants. Does take a lot of damage before he has to back away. And with the Elder Dragon just up now, the damage that IG has done could be enough to take the objective. I don't think NIP can afford to back off.
Yeah, IG gets heals too with the Seraphine, so that was really good posturing as Breathe, the Serpent's Fang got in, got big. Jwei
Should be killing care here. It's another flash forced out of NIP, and NIP who is continuing to lose ground in this fight. Flash forward from Breathe. He wants Assum. He will get him. IG do the damage, pick off the right members, and get the Elder Dragon served up to them.
I mean, it's a really good start onto Guwon for this fight, but it felt like the retreat from NIP was just far too split. I don't know if it was Hoya not having Mega, or realizing they were quite low on health bars and could not out-sustain the Seraphine, as we had a TP come in from Kara. They were going to look to maybe posture this Baron, but of course, Elder on IG is uncontestable, as IG are going to get in, take this Baron, and be double monster buffed up to see how much they can get to you, and they have a lot of standing objectives to get through, as we were talking about earlier.
Next 20 seconds will mean all ultimates are up for IG as well. All ults, all Baroned up, all Elder Dragon. As we said, no matter which way this game goes, it is meant to end games. But as you pointed out, IG do have a lot of ground to cover, so they'll need to make moves like this again in order to make that happen. A big part of it, though, was weirdly Electrocute on Breathe, as he's able to, even at this stage of the game, do enough damage to Assum in the course of one combo to force him out of the fight entirely.
See, that's also welcome to Season 16, where the enemy top laner, they've got more experience. Serpent's Fang completed on the Breathe, and we were praising Breathe's Ambessa diving in, as we felt like he was one of the better Ambessa players on Weibo, and Breathe showing up and showing out once again on IG. As I know for him, reading some of the interviews, it was more of a, I guess I'll come back, rather than like, I'm thrilled to come back, as the... I know IG is still really hoping to run the Shy and Rookie, has been a few of the rumors behind the scenes, but Breathe, and the first series, it was a lot of Renard. That was one of the bigger players, or brighter points for IG. Breathe this game has been my pog, as man, the 2 fights that he's gotten to take out Assum, and then the 2 game-winning sequences really for IG here is their Kraken inhibitors.
Guwon split from the team, trying to cut the wave, is going to get hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but no Guwon for NIP means that they have no engage, they have no frontline. Hoya's got no rage, Assum can't step up, and Renard will just walk back and execute him. Always has the option to join as the Galio as well. Assum can't really step up, but as the public execution gets used, maybe it's his chance. In though comes Renard, finding the taunt, the knock-up, the kill on Assum, and IG, they execute perfectly, even as the game was slipping from their fingers, to find the win in game number 1.
Down kills, but up in Nexus. That's all that matters, Dia, as they were able to find Assum in the moments where it counted. I think Breathe played really well around that. And we saw some good macro from IG. Jwei had a clutch steal in there. That 3rd dragon, I think, really changed the script of the game. But that was a close game. We came in here saying that NIP might be able to get a win. A little bit more experience playing together as 5. I think that they actually played a pretty good game as 5. Just around those big objectives, fell apart. And IG had better setups, better execution. And definitely some big arrows there from Jwei in the back half, who did struggle in the laning phase. Did grant Yunara that big lead. Was able to help come back and help make sure that Ashe Seraphine still reigns supreme.
You said the magic word, Cubby, objectives. Objectives really won IG that game. And I know that, of course, no objectives are complete without good play around them. That's really what stood out to me about the IG roster. They drafted for this really early on, control the first 2 dragons, managed to out-execute on the 3rd, turned the 4th into a possibility as well with some well-timed team fights. They were looking for the right plays, but most importantly, the right plays at the right times in order to knock on objectives to them. Even though we did see them lose control of the Baron, it didn't seem to stop the way that they were planning to play the game.
Yeah, and I think that we saw, I don't want to say in a nutshell what Ashe Seraphine is, but Ashe Seraphine for me is a combo that if I were coaching, I would really not want to give over. I think that there is some credence giving it over in game 1 because you don't have to deal with it for the rest of the series, but I view this as something you almost have to split up because they complement each other so well in the laning phase. And if you get ahead or get out of laning phase, just the utility that you bring to a team, both champions bring a disgusting amount of utility to the team, whether it's Ashe Slows, Ashe Vision, and Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Then you look at Seraphine's kit with the Root, the Heal, and the Encore. And then you combine it, you make it even stronger in the early game, and then they scale that way where, that Elder posturing, NIP can't even stick around because if they do, they have to try and survive all the W's coming out from Seraphine, right? That stack up on top of each other. It's just impossible to match that sustain too. It's a real problem duo. And to see that given over with Ezreal Karma not being answered, and then see them honestly play pretty well into it, and then still get the same result is almost a bit of a bummer, but also why that combo has been so high priority just globally, as Ashe Seraphine is kind of viewed as the bot lane duo to have right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but agree. IG did get the better end of this draft. They managed to keep control of it the whole way, and some of that was NIP giving this over to them as well, because you'll remember NIP had the chance to split up the Ashe Seraphine, and instead they ended up going with their top side, drafting the Rise and the Gnar, who, to their credit, had pretty good games, but nothing that really matched up with the impact that Ashe Seraphine could have for free, especially once Breathe and Renard scaled up and were able to bring their utility to the table.
This is quite the graph. As, I mean, in a nutshell, it's like objectives for gold. What wins in the end? Yeah. I fear it's objectives in playing as a team, which, to be fair, that's how Riot designed the game. I'm kind of here for it, and I think team play is fun, but it was awesome to have that huge lead. Awesome just couldn't get it across the finish line. I think Breathe was probably the one that was the most responsible for making sure that's what happened. And then Jwei at, 3-6-4 still gets to end up having a big game, even though we saw him get punished a lot throughout this one. As both AD carries led our teams in deaths, Dia.
Yeah.
A lot of action,
So they got to get up in there. And Assum was certainly doing his job of doing that. Well, we look at these highlights. I know that you had teased it in the game. How are we feeling about our player of the game? Are you still going Breathe?
I think it has to be Breathe. That Electrocute on Ambessa, we don't usually see that in the Gnar, so he won a lane that is usually Gnar favored. And then just the impactful plays that he had later on to make sure that Assum fell as... Oh, the coach was happy about some of those clicks. We didn't see that one on the main broadcast. I mean, again, I thought Assum had a lot of really good moments in this game, but just not enough to get it across the finish line for the rest of his team, as he was found and punished later on.
And I like, if it were just for this play, if Infernal Soul had been the thing to take IG over to the edge, I think I would have given player of the game likely to Jwei.
Yeah.
But for his impact in the rest of the game, I do agree. It felt like he was quite secondary to what Breathe was able to bring, just because of how much impact the Ambessa was able to have and how much threat Ambessa was able to place specifically onto Assum, with how much more mobility and backline threat she's able to have than Xin Zhao.
It just kind of stinks that this game came down to, like, Breathe walking up to a Yunara that had both sums up, hitting public execution, one-shotting the Yunara, and then that's, like, just kind of the game.
Yeah.
And I know that there was a lot more game to it than that, but, again, the fights where Breathe was able to get up in the face of the Yunara were the fights that IG and Breathe won. Whereas
this
the fights...
fight...
Yeah. The fights that didn't happen, NIP won. So I feel like Assum, we give him a lot of kudos for the lead he had, but probably could have played it a little bit better. As like that trade is not one that was good or worth it. I know that he's pressured with Transcendence to go in and get something done, but that was big. And then just how NIP split as a team. It was really just two fights, two big moments, Dio, that made the game feel so hard for them. And a lot of that was, like, we need to give kudos to Jwei and his objective stacking and how well IG played around that as a team later. That's part of why this game felt so hard for NIP, because the objectives did all go the way of IG. But, yeah, those two teamfight executes just a little bit too big, and I think it's going to be a Breathe MVP.
Yeah, the last couple of fights, like you mentioned, I mean, Assum didn't really have any real opportunity in this fight to do anything, but previous to that, one of the things that stood out to me about Assum that we called out as a potential liability in the mid game was that he was willing to step up, that he was willing to take these big risks. And it's a difficult thing, Cubby, because on one hand, you want your AD carry to be able to do that. That's why you draft an AD carry who can step up and outlive it, but it looks pretty silly when you step up and die. And I don't know whether this comes down to an Assum throw or whether it's just everything fell apart around that. How much blame can you realistically place on an AD carry who's ahead and wants to utilize it?
I think that AD, I would prefer for you to be a little bit safer than a little bit too aggressive, because I think that you have to, like, a lot of the game is played around you, and when you step up and are caught, the game cannot be played around you anymore, which I know that, like, sounds simple, but I think we've seen it a lot, and trying to find that balance is one that I know a player like Leave, who also has history with NIP, is still trying to figure out how, because he's also someone that I feel like has really good mechanics, but tries to use them too much. So yeah, awesome there on that aspect, wasn't able to get it done. And Breathe, that was a pretty sweet Ambessa game, as it goes Deathwitz, ends up winning the two team fights that, for his team based on good Ambessa play that they needed, and I think brings home a pretty rightful pog.
Good Ambessa play. No ganks, by the way. I'm typing that in all chat if I'm playing this game.
I like your style, Tia. I like your style.
Yeah.
That's yeah. You are correct.
Yeah. He's chilling. Won the lane against the Gnar. The electrocute pickup. Really exciting as well, making that lane a real breakout one for IG, and of course ultimately winning them the first game with some great Ambessa play. Not going to be a possibility in game number 2, but perhaps Breathe will be able to push his team forward to the next level even in the second game, bringing us a little bit of something different. But as we are always trying to push things to the next level here on broadcast as well, it is worth noting that we could use some support, as we've got our coffee links up all the time. Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English project, since the vast majority of your contributions will go directly into the show. All the initial payments will go into operating our broadcast, making graphics like you're seeing right now. But a huge bulk of it also pairs on-air talent like us and all of our content creators. You can subscribe to our coffee, which is linked in chat right now if our mods are on it, to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for when we're able to get interviews with these stellar players. These stellar players who are taking a break, one that we will take as well before we jump